Hey, John.
What a good weekend to be in LA, dude.
Why?
What do you mean why? This is like the second LA sports title that we've gotten this year in 2020, you know?
Yeah, you just said what a good week to be in LA.
I
Oh,
mean, yeah,
because they won?
yeah, because it happened this week, you know?
So here's the thing.
It makes me pretty proud to be an LA member, even though I'm not really an LA Teams fan, to be honest.
I'm a Giants fan. So this is not warming my soul at all. Like, this is the opposite of what we hope would happen.
See, here's the thing. I feel like I'm at a party that's like popping off, but I wasn't invited, but I'm still happy to be here. You know, it's like not my friend's place, but like at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy I'm around, you know?
Okay. So you weren't like you weren't uninvited. You were just like not directly invited.
Exactly. I just wasn't directly invited. It was like I had nothing to do, and like I was in the area, and some of my friends were going, and they're friends with this dude's friends. And then I got there, and I was like, you know what? I'm having a pretty good time.
Okay. I
That's
don't hate that. That's how you feel.
that's being in LA for me right now. Like I'm not a big LA sports team. I don't
Right.
really love any of the LA teams, but if my teams are out, I don't mind rooting for them. You know?
Right. For me, it feels like my enemy is having a party and I got forced to go,
Okay.
but I don't
okay.
want to enjoy it. Like, I want to make a point
But, like,
that like,
But does it suck that everyone around you is enjoying it? You're like sober and everyone else is drunk right now. having a
that's what
great
it is
time.
for me.
They're like
I'm at
singing
my
chain smokers at the top of their lungs.
right. And I'm like, how
I'm
soon
not
can we
drunk enough.
leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm happy for the people who are really happy, like our dude Eric Sklar.
Dude, he's popping more champagne, I'm sure.
Right. Yes. And like I am happy that they're feeling this joy in a year of so little joy.
Yeah, that's what I mean too. This comes at a pretty good time because I'm trying to like count how many things in 2020 have like been a sign of hope or been something to really, really celebrate.
It's
And
pretty small.
it's very small.
Yeah.
Like maybe one hand of a list, you know?
Right. And do you mean just for you or for the world?
Both, I think.
Right.
You know?
Challenging year personally and professionally and and
Yeah.
mentally and physically and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Preach. All the
Right.
above.
All of it.
I don't know a lot of people that are genuinely having a good time right now, you know, in
There
this
was
2020.
There was a point where I felt like I was genuinely thriving. And then it ended.
And then that 24 hours ended and you were like, oh yeah.
It was more than 24 hours. It was like a couple weeks. I felt like I still have my job. I'm doing creative things.
Oh, it could
There's
be
good
worse.
stuff happening in my personal life. Like I really like was vibing with 2020 from it. And I was like, it's fine. I'm working out all the time. Like all of it's good. Most of those things are not still that great. Anyway, this is Erica's sad tangent.
You know what? It's okay because we're taking the sad tangents. We're accepting them, you know, and then there are still some positive tangents,
For
AKA
sure.
the Dodgers winning the World Series, dude. I think that's awesome. I'm happy for them. You know, I got a lot of Dodgers fans in my household. I got a lot of Dodgers friends, and them not winning since 1988 or whatever it was.
Right, in our lifetime.
Pretty fantastic. Yeah.
Here's my question.
Go for it.
Are we happy for Justin Turner after he gets a positive test and then still comes out onto the field to celebrate?
100%.
I just feel like it was not the right move.
Here's the thing, okay? I feel two things about this. One, I don't think it was just Justin Turner deciding I'm going to go on the field now and then bypassing everyone who could have stopped him and been like, you know what? No, you got to take this serious. Right. You know what I mean? Like you can't blame someone for bypassing security if you're not going to have hardcore security, you know? So,
I also think his fellow players were down with it.
That's what I mean. Like, they've been trying for this World Series. I'm sorry, this is the third time in the World Series in the past 4 years.
Right.
And they finally get it. And Justin Turner, you know, knowing about his past, he like almost got cut from whatever team he was at before. He goes.
You just went silent for some reason.
Back?
You're back. So go
Nice.
from he got cut from his past 4 teams.
Yeah, he was like when he was traded to the Dodgers, like I guess his MLB career was like almost over. So he just goes from that to this powerhouse of a team with everyone kind of built from the inside, and like to not celebrate that moment that you gave everything for. If it was okay with the team, then that's really the only stipulation I would personally have. And if I was on his team too, I'd be like, dude, get out of here. Like I'll recover from COVID in the next 2 weeks because this series is done. This is all that matters in the world right now.
I don't think. Okay, sure. My other question, what was it? I had another question and then I forgot it. So
Also,
Remember how we talked about months ago? We said, does winning the NBA championship, does winning the World Series matter as much this year? Is it
yeah,
the same?
see,
And for basketball, I think it's the same. For baseball, I'm iffy on that.
I still feel like it's the same because I guess the only difference would be you'd need to win a larger percent of games. You'd
Right.
play more games, you'd need to win more of them. But I feel like for the Dodgers, like they've just been showing every year that they do that.
And I guess like they still went through the playoffs pretty much the same way.
Exactly. Like the playoffs seem to be exactly the same.
Right.
And they were killing it like the entire time. Like they for sure deserve to win.
Sure. I will
I,
say no
I
more
think
negative
anyway.
things on the matter because I'm just bitter because the Giants haven't been great.
I do like that the Rays were like such an underdog team and like
Totally.
they don't get
Totally.
paid a bunch of money. Like I guess their whole team is paid as much as two players on the Dodgers. Like I get that. That's sweet. But also I feel
Maybe
like the
next year
Dodgers
for them.
maybe next year. Yeah. Like the Dodgers had to wait 4 years, since their first World
I
Series
was
appearance
said
recently.
the Dodgers had to wait, I don't know, 34 years,
Yeah.
32
Whatever
years.
1988
So,
is.
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, congrats to them.
Congrats to them. It was cool to see. It was really, really cool to see because the Dodgers fans that I do know, I will say this about Dodgers fans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really one of them. Okay. I'll be like a secondary one.
Sure.
But I will say that a lot of the Dodgers fans I know love the Dodgers even when they've been terrible. Like, I feel
And
like
yeah,
they really do have a lot of devoted LA fans. And it's cool to see those people really get excited for something they've genuinely waited a long time for. That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah. Go Dodgers fans.
Go Dodgers fans.
Before we get into the balls deep question of the day, just checking in. You're still at home. Clearly, you haven't been evacuated from these fires.
I have not.
Okay.
But we are about a mile and a half from people who are getting evacuated now. So,
Oh, so it's getting a little closer.
yeah. I feel like you could pretty much open up one of our podcasts from 2020. And if you get one within every month, we're going to be talking about fires.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's such a California thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Sydney, she was evacuated from her house.
Right.
So it's touching a lot of people close to me. Luckily, my house is so inland that it's just not around hills.
Sure.
One thing I've noticed in California from being able to travel out of state is a lot of other states don't necessarily have hills like we have hills. Like it's just flat in some states, and that's crazy for me to see. But here we have a lot of hills and there are a lot of houses built around those hills, and that's super dangerous for fire season.
Right. And yeah, I mean, it's just like with the winds we get and everything is just it's hard to say like which way it's going to go.
Yeah,
So.
Totally. And our pool's filled with ash and leaves. So like everything around here looks terrible for sure.
You also almost flooded your
house?
home this week. And you never sent me
Yeah.
a picture. God.
I was going to send you a picture. So two things. One, I'm dumb. And two, our roommate, Sean, who moved out, he was in charge of making sure the pool was filled because it's hot and water evaporates and then the pool gets low and then that'll ruin the pump if you don't refill your pool, right?
Okay.
Pool maintenance.
Who would have known? Not me.
Who'd have thought? Yeah. So new problems we're having to deal with. So he'd be the guy that would take the hose in the backyard, turn it on, remember to turn it off, and then leave.
Mm.
Well, Sean no longer lives here. So I was like, well, if there's a problem, step up and do it. So I'm going to step up and do it. So last night I said, hey, the pool's looking a little low. I'm going to fill it up. So I turned on the hose and I went to bed.
Yep.
And I woke up the next morning and water, maybe if I would have noticed that if I would have looked in the backyard, maybe an hour later, I'm pretty sure water would be pouring into our house. It was at the very tippy top of the pool. And I was like, oh no. And I ran outside in the middle of our show and I had to go like turn our hose off. And I was like, thank God I noticed this now. This hose has been on all night and I almost flooded our entire house.
How close is your pool to your house?
Maybe like 12 feet, 15
so
feet.
Like
I'm not really
it may
good
have
feet.
taken time before it.
Yeah. Like it wouldn't have flooded our house, but it would have flooded the backyard for sure.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm really glad that did not happen.
Our water bill, dude, don't even want to know. Don't even want to know. So
you can't refill the pool for like another 2 months.
Yeah.
But also now that's all ashy. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know how to even fix that. Like I think when the pool people come, like I can take our little net and scrape the leaves and stuff off the top, but I feel like, what do you do with all the ash that's in the pool?
Does it just I'm not a pool girl, so I don't
Science.
know. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe that's what part of the pump is for, to like
Yeah.
clean it.
Yeah.
Filter?
Doesn't it like, it
You
doesn't like
must have a filter.
recycle? Yeah. We have a filter, I think, right?
Yeah,
It just
probably.
like recycles water and
Sure.
it probably gets the ash out. But the ash is so small that does a filter get that? Probably.
I don't know, John. I've never had a pool. I've literally never lived at a house with a pool.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, this is my first and it's
Oh,
been pretty
that's a
cool.
lie. We rented one for 1 year. We never
Nice.
used it. Anyway.
There it is. That's us, dude.
Wow. Do you want to get into the balls deep question of the day?
There's nothing I would rather do than to get into this balls deep question of the day with Erica Shea.
Amazing. This actually, because I have a list of questions now, by the way, that I came up with over the last week,
Dude,
and I'm going to go through
nice.
them every week so that we don't get repeats because I'm an effing idiot.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. So this one actually kind of ties into what we were talking about at the very beginning of this episode. What
Okay.
is the thing you're the most grateful for in this moment? Not in your life, just in
Wow.
this moment.
The thing I am most grateful for in this moment. I think I'm most grateful in this moment for having a great support system behind me.
Okay.
I love the people that I live with and the friends that I have, especially going through like the time that I'm going through right now. Like it's really nice to have some people in your corner saying, "Hey, man, it's gonna be all right. Like you're gonna get through it. Life's gonna get better." And I need that. I need that. I like being alone for doses, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be alone as a person. I don't think anyone really wants to be alone. You know what I mean? So
Some people kind of do, which
yeah.
is, we're both, I think, just pretty extroverted. So it's hard for us to imagine.
But even the people that want to be alone, I somehow think they still don't. Like I somehow think that maybe they push people away. You know, maybe
Yeah.
they want to live most of their life on their own, but I still think, and I could be wrong, but I think that's still some kind of internal defense mechanism, making it okay to be alone because secretly they really don't want to be.
Interesting.
I heard this thing the other day. It was like someone's comedy special, and he
Mm-hmm.
was basically just saying that like guys want you around, like, but they like don't want to be talked to sometimes. You know, it's like they want you in the room. Like I
Yes.
want to be around people, but you don't necessarily always want to deal with people. But it's nice to be
Yeah.
like around people who are not bothering your space. You know.
That's like, have you ever just sat on either like the phone with someone or on FaceTime with someone and just like not really talked much?
Just done your own thing, but like they're
Yeah, just
still
kind of
there.
like, yeah, like you're both working, but you're on FaceTime or something.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
It's kind of nice.
It is.
And you have to definitely be like a certain level of comfortable with someone before you can do that.
Totally.
Otherwise, you're like, why are we on? This is weird. What are we doing? But
And I
it is
think,
kind of nice.
yeah, and I think car rides are like that too. Like I love to talk sometimes, but I
Yeah.
just sometimes love when people are in the car, but I can just sit there in silence and like zone out to some
Right.
music, but have you there too, you know?
It's great.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
You kind of, I feel like my answer is very similar to yours, but I was home last week in my hometown, like where pretty much all of my really good friends from high school live, who are still just my best friends. Like
Mhm.
some people don't have that same, I think you have some of your really good friends still from high school, right?
Yeah, I have like three of
Yeah.
them.
And not everyone has that, but though that's who I am the most grateful for right now. I've just kind of been like not loving where things are at, obviously, like the
Right.
world, and I was just having a hard time, and I kind of I texted a couple of them before I came home, and I was like, warning, like I've just not been in a good mood, like I've just been like
Yeah.
kind of sad, whatever. And they were like, yeah, that's why we're here, like come home sooner, just, and
Yeah.
it was so nice seeing them. Was like really distracting from the rest of the world. Also, we had like all just gotten negative COVID tests, not even intentionally. So that was awesome. We could actually hang out and not be worried about it the whole time. But yeah, that's who I'm most grateful for.
I think sometimes it's so hard to find someone that compares to the friends who you've known the longest or who have
Mm-hmm.
known you the longest, because
Right.
you could even have a best friend that you've known a lesser amount of time, but the people who have known you the longest, I feel like understand why you are the way you are and like
Right.
understand because they were there through things that changed you.
Yeah.
And as much as someone says they understand, and I'm sure in a lot of cases they do, the people who were there understand on a different level,
For sure.
maybe
You,
not a better level, but at least a different one. And like, I'm so grateful to have some of those people.
right. Like I think about two of my best friends. It's literally been over 20 years now.
Yeah.
Which is the coolest thing in the world to me. But I'm like, they've seen me, like they were there when my parents broke up. They were there when all my siblings moved to college. They were there when my parents got remarried. Literally like They
Yeah.
came to my mom's wedding. They were there when I went through my first breakup and like when I fell in love for the first time, like all of those things. I'm like, yeah, they just get it. They might get it more than I get it.
Sometimes I think so, because you
Yeah.
could be with a friend now that you met last year or whatever, and you could be like, yeah, this was during the time of my breakup. It was
Right.
really hard. And then they understand that, yeah, that breakup was hard. But when you're
Right.
talking to your friends who were there, when you say it was during that breakup, they remember those nights you were crying. They
Uh-huh.
remember those nights that you really like were reaching out to people for help, and the nights, all the collective amount of things that really took you through that breakup. And that's just a deeper level of understanding.
Totally. Shout out to those friends. It's really
Shout out to those
amazing.
friends, because you can't really replace those friends, you know?
No, no. And I'm so lucky. I mean, two of them I've been friends with for 20 years. One, really, I met her when I was like 5. Tammy.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
met when I think we were 5. We didn't become friends like until high school more, but we always knew each other. And then I would say like my other like best friend I've known since we played 7th grade basketball together. And I told her that she looked pretty today, but some days not so much. So if you want to know what it's like to be my friend, that's it.
I mean, honesty, though. I love the honesty.
Always.
The honesty is so key and so important. And those friends who've been your friends for a long time, I don't think they're going to take it as personal.
No, they get it.
Yeah.
So, wow. Good times.
Yeah.
I have
Shout out
like
to
go
those
ahead.
friends.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question
Okay.
for you, which I am to earlier and then started screaming at you not to answer.
You said don't answer.
I said, wait, don't answer. Have you cried lately?
So what's our boundaries on lately?
Within the last 12 days.
12 days?
Yeah.
I will say no.
No?
No.
Okay, see, this is what I'm worried about. I feel like, you know how, and you said it to me, you said girls get over things faster and then men realize later on.
That's true. That's
So
true. I
I'm
still stand
worried
by
that
that.
you're not feeling it and that it's going to really hit you later on.
No, it's already, that's for sure a thing.
Okay. As long as
100%.
you understand.
Like, I'm definitely feeling it. So I asked you on the boundaries things because like beyond that 12 days, yes, I think the real answer is yes, I've cried over the last couple of weeks, you know?
Okay, good.
And I find it easier for me to cry for people rather than for myself.
Yeah.
Which is super strange. I think that's why like I love to cry for like music or movies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, when Kobe died, the family in the helicopter were like someone lost their mom, dad, and sister like all at once or whatever it was. Like I like cried for that. Like I couldn't hold that in, you know, I just can feel for that. And it's easier for me to cry in those situations than it is for me to cry for myself.
Okay.
And I mean, one of the times that obviously I cried was like, you know, the day that Sydney and I broke it off.
Yeah.
Again, my cry is not like a hysterical, the world is ending cry, but it's like your eyes water up. And then like the walls that normally go up that just keep your eyes watery and nothing else, they went up. And then I like feel some substance like roll down my cheek.
Yeah.
And I was like,
man.
wait.
Those like
have a leak.
Couple tear cries are almost worse because they're like, you know, you're so sad.
Yes, those are my cries for sure, 100%. And I think it's just telling because I'm usually not even able to do that. Sometimes I try to do that because I'll be around someone in a hard situation and I want to let them know I'm feeling it. And I like would try to cry, but I just can't. Like I don't know how, you know?
You and your crying are funny.
It's a weird kind of like emotional relationship with myself.
Have you been listening to sad music?
In the beginning, a lot. Now a little.
Okay. Gosh,
but again, I think
me.
you're right. Like this is, I think what's happening is like, you know, just to be honest, like she's doing very well, you know, like Sydney's doing very well. Yeah, she's absolutely doing very well. And I think it hit her a lot in the beginning and now she's starting to adapt. And I think in the beginning, I was very, very sad for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then it started to not feel real to me for a little bit, you know?
Right.
And then now seeing us actually have to start doing things apart, I'm like, whoa, like, uh-oh, like this is starting to hit me a little bit. So it's for sure different. I don't know why that is, but I really do think in all situations, just like girls will fully get over something before a guy does.
So weird.
I know. I don't know how to do that. I think I just need to like feel it for a week again, you know, and then just like, I don't know. It makes me want to like get better and like do better.
Right. I actually had this conversation, not about you, but about men moving on faster with a friend last night. And it was just, she said the exact same thing. She's like, girls are really sad at first. And then the guys realize what they've lost like later on. And it can be anything from like a month to 6 months later.
100%. It really could
So,
be, you
yeah.
know? Um, it's I don't know. It's just hard. Breakups are
Yeah.
stupid. Love is stupid.
Love
I'm
isn't
kidding.
stupid.
I'm kidding. It's not stupid, but
It's
like
not stupid.
it's just all dumb. It's dumb in the
It's
moment.
yeah, it is. It is. And like you'll look back and be like, wow, I was really, really broken up over that. And it's okay now. I asked you this because I realized I was texting with my best friend today and I was like, you know what? Haven't cried all week. And then I realized I cried Sunday. So kind of all week. I've made it like 4.5 days.
Yeah, I mean, do you think you can not cry for the next two?
I don't know. It seems like a really I've been so like tight-lipped on my life. So I don't want to like I don't want to get into it, but like
Yeah, of course, of course.
I think that there are things that are happening that are out of my control and I really hate that. And
That's the worst.
when
It's the
things are out of my
worst feeling.
control, I get frustrated and then I frustrated cry.
But at least I feel like you wear your crying emotions like on your sleeve.
For
you
sure.
know? So I feel like you're never going to have, or not never, but it's going to be more rare for you to have a big crying episode because you just like let a little cry out every once in a while.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like 4 big crying episodes in a week, man. You should have seen me on Sunday. I was on the phone with my mom just crying because I was like, everything feels out of control and overwhelming.
So here's my next question. Do you feel actually better about these situations after you cry?
Yes. It
Oh,
literally woke
yeah.
up Monday
Wow.
morning like, I feel pretty good.
I get it. I get it then because I
Right.
don't.
Oh my God.
I just never feel better about situations. I just feel like I just have to get over it in the moment and then it still sucks. And then I just have to
No.
wait until it sucks again.
You absolutely need to
Wait, this is breaking
really
news.
what? This?
Yeah, like maybe this is the reason people cry because then they actually feel better after. Who
Yes.
thought?
Like and if I do like the little ones, I definitely don't feel as good as when I like ugly cry. There's snot coming out of my nose.
Wow.
I have to take some time to breathe after.
It just like cleanses your soul,
Yes.
your emotions.
And it's like sometimes you just need to verbalize or physically put out the sadness you're feeling and then it's out.
Or
Or you can just put up
just
walls and just let a
lock that
single
dude
tear.
up. Yeah.
My God.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Like, I feel like if I could
Right.
press a button right now and just like lock myself in a closet and press a button and just like let out a bunch of stuff, I don't know, maybe it'd feel better. But also, I feel like I'm also fine though. You know,
Well,
like
you'd
I'm
have to
pretty.
wait until like a moment when you're really feeling it.
Yeah. But
What?
I think the way I see it is, in a moment I'm really feeling it. If I don't cry and then I'm just chilling and then I just change the subject and start thinking and doing other things, then I'm like, hell yeah, that didn't get to me. It wasn't so bad. We're good.
I think you're delaying the grief.
I'm worried about that.
You're like, good
I'll be
point there.
honest, you know, I'm a little bit worried about it. I don't know if it's the truth or not. I'm kind of just doing my thing here. And so far I'm pretty chilling. Like I'm trekking on day by day,
Sure.
but like, I don't know if it's going to catch up to me, dude. I really don't, you know?
Well, you can scientifically experiment with this and see if it does or not.
That's what I'm doing. I'm really doing this for science. It's all for science.
Right. Yeah, but you know, you ask like, oh, can you get through the next 2 days without crying? And it's like, Halloween's this weekend. I got nothing to do. I got no costume. And I, you know, and I just, that's sad. It's so lonely.
Is it though?
Yeah,
it
totally
this
world
is. Makes
is.
you feel better. I've decided for Halloween. My roommate was an astronaut last year.
Okay.
And he still has got his costume. And I was like, you know what? What's the question you ask people when it comes to Halloween costumes? What's the question you ask? What are you going to be? What do you want to be?
Yeah.
So I started to think, I was like, I feel like for Halloween, I should just genuinely every year start being things I actually want to be. You know, like, isn't that the point?
Cute.
You can pretend to be anything for a day. So
it feels
last
very
year,
like you're, what's that? Manifesting it.
Manifesting. Yeah. Like last year, I was Spider-Man and I want to be Spider-Man.
Right.
So I was like, I was pretty pumped about that. And I felt so good about the costume. And then this year, I want to be an astronaut. Like I would be so sick. I want to go to space. So I kind of want to wear an astronaut costume, be an astronaut for Halloween and just really bask in it and be like, this is great. This is what I need.
Sure. You know? Are you actually ever going to try to become an astronaut?
So, okay, here's the next question I had. Okay, it's a little bit
Okay.
off topic, but here's my question. I looked up the definition of an astronaut, and it
Okay.
says you're basically a pilot or crew member of a spacecraft that's trained by some kind of space program.
NASA, but
Right.
yeah.
It just says space program. And then that would make you, by definition, an astronaut. So then
Okay.
my question is, when commercial space flight comes out, okay, and you can buy a ticket to go up to space for a little bit, be in zero gravity and come back down for 200 grand or whatever it is,
No.
hopefully less, are you considered an
No.
astronaut?
Because you will have received no training.
Okay, but I feel like they have to train you for safety. You know, like they come out and they say, hey, here are the emergency exits. Like, this is what you have to do in space. That is training. That is training me to go to space.
No.
I feel like it is.
Here's the
I
thing.
feel like it is.
Okay, so that's discrediting all the work that astronauts have done over the years. So imagine this. Imagine for a second. I'm literally putting my finger up to John, being like, don't interrupt me. Imagine you are the world's best radio host.
Nice.
Cool. Sounds great. Can someone who just shows up one day and is on a show in the middle of nowhere just for 5 minutes, do they get to say, yeah, I'm a radio host?
Huh.
No.
Yes?
No.
No, I don't think so. So, but
even we can't say that, and we have a podcast.
So maybe it's because I feel like you could be called a radio. Okay, so here's my next question. Okay, follow up.
Okay.
If for those 5 minutes, okay, you were paid, someone paid you and they were like, I need you to be on the radio for 5 minutes. Here's $100. Are you a radio host?
I guess maybe, but you're not paid to pay to fly up into space.
So
also,
maybe
you're
that's
not a
the
crew member
difference.
or pilot.
But I feel like I could be a crew member.
So you could like learn how to clean the aircraft.
That's what I mean. What if I clean on my way out, or I volunteer myself to be in charge of making sure my row has their seatbelts buckled?
No, I think you only become a crew member if you're paid to be there.
Yeah, maybe.
So if you want
to tell me, what if an astronaut decided to do it for free?
But they've you're so annoying. Do you realize how annoying you are?
Yeah, I do 100% realize.
We're just fighting over this. Well, you know what? For Halloween, you can be whatever you want.
Thank you. It's going to be an astronaut, and I'm going to pretend I'm in space the entire night. Pretty pumped.
Okay, but you need to get those shoes that, like, when you step, you spring up, because that's how you can best pretend that you're in space.
Wait, what?
You know those, like, shoes? They're like trampoline shoes.
They have those? What do you mean?
Like,
you're telling me they're shoes with little springs on them.
They were big when we were kids. So they're like really big platform, and like in the platform is a material that would bounce you. And you can they might be called moon shoes.
Moon shoes.
Look them up.
I kind of want to look it up. I'm going to look it up right now.
How are you now?
Shoes. Are you sure that's a thing? I remember Heelys. I want a pair of Heelys.
I'm nearly certain that this is a thing.
With springs. Oh, wow. It's actually the first on the Google search. Check that out. Oh, my God. What? These are so sick.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not an idiot.
Oh, my God. Wait, these are way cooler than I imagined they would be. I literally thought you were talking about little springs and like the soles of your shoes. No, these are legit boots on top of real springs.
Yeah.
They're also $79.98, so maybe not worth it, but pretty worth it also at the same time. You know what I mean? Wow. You kind of upped my game a little bit.
There you have it. And if you're drinking something, you should like make it spill, but without gravity, so that really doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, but you know what? There may be some point of the night I'm down to try. So
get you drunk enough.
It could be. It definitely could be. Okay, so this kind of brings me to my next thing that I kind of want to talk about for a little bit.
Okay.
So,
why are you laughing?
Do you know what microblading is?
Okay, yes. John put on the rundown microblading with like 5 question marks.
Okay, I don't really know what it is. Okay, I just discovered it for the first time, and let me tell you why, because it's honestly kind of a funny story. So, one of my roommates doesn't like his eyebrows. Right? I guess he thinks he has small eyebrows or whatever.
Okay.
So he decided that he was just going to look into how to fix that problem. So he looked up a local eyebrow place, and he just asked the lady straight up. He was like, look, I'm looking for more eyebrows. Like, I kind of want to, like, fluff them up a little bit. What do I got to do? And she's like, well, there's this thing you could do. Like, we'll basically like do a couple of things. It's going to be about $300 and you can come in and it'll look better. And he was like, all right, for sure. I'll do that. No research, no nothing. So he goes to this eyebrow
No,
place.
he got his eyebrows microbladed.
I don't even know what that means yet. Neither does he. So,
Okay.
So then he does it, spends $300. He comes back home and his eyes are super red, but like they're filled. They look pretty good, right? And one of our friends was like, how much did you pay for that? And he said $300. And she's like, do you realize you got your eyebrows microbladed? And he's like, what does that mean? And then I was like, yeah, what does that mean? And apparently we found out it means they basically tattoo your eyebrows on.
Yes.
Yeah, he did that. Just spur of the moment, out of nowhere.
Okay,
Didn't
so
even realize.
what they do, are you ready for me to explain this?
Yeah.
They like cut in like hair. I mean, they like cut your eye around your eyebrows to like in like the thinness of a hair. And then they like fill it with dye. So yes, it's basically like getting it tattooed.
So it's a face tattoo. So he's Post Malone.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's amazing. And apparently it lasts like 2 years. So we were like
longer.
Or longer. So we didn't know. So we just started looking up microblading and it was like, yeah, like you're prone to bleed because they do cut you. And he was like, oh yeah, I bled.
Can you tell me which roommate this is, or do they want to
Bradley. It's Bradley. Yeah.
He straight up walked in somewhere and they're like, yeah, we can microblade those. And he was like, cool, do it.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't even really know what it means until right now. I've never heard that term before.
It also like takes a lot of
he was
care.
just like, fill my eyebrows.
Yeah. But he needs to like take care of them now because it's like open wounds. It's like a tattoo.
Yeah, so like, but it sounded, when we started telling people, it sounded like they were like, oh my God, you got microbladed? Like it was a big deal.
It's a big deal. Like a lot of women do it.
So why is it such a big, like, why is everyone so shocked he got microbladed,
Because I've never heard of a man getting his eyebrows microbladed. So like literally this is the first ever.
I love how you just called the lady and she was like, yeah, I got you. Come on in. Like, I got the perfect thing. And he was just like, okay.
Oh my God. Also for only $300.
Is that pretty cheap?
Pretty good. Yeah. The issue is like, a lot of things can happen with that. The brows can like reject the dye.
Reject the dye?
Yeah. And then they just like turn red.
Whoa.
So keep an eye out for if his eyebrows are suddenly like, hey man, those are really red.
So what's like the upkeep for like do you put lotion on it?
I don't really know because I haven't done it and I have like no interest in it. So because I don't really like want to like slice my face open. Wow.
Yeah, my roommate got microbladed.
Do they look good?
They look great. They look like full eyebrows,
Right. Do you groom your eyebrows?
I don't at all.
Oh, you have a nice eyebrow shape.
Everyone says that, and I don't really know what that means because I feel
like
I don't know eyebrows enough to really know,
Well, like my eyebrows are mostly drawn on.
Drawn on?
Yeah. Also, like in a Zoom, it's hard to like see them.
What does that mean?
Yeah, like I fill them in with pencil.
Oh, that's kind of dope.
Yeah. So like that was Bradley's other option.
So we're like in the Zoom right now analyzing each other's eyebrows.
This is going to be a great YouTube video.
I mean, there's sometimes I'll like trim the in between, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Just because like there's some hairs there, but like I don't really touch anything else.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I don't even know what bad eyebrows would look like. I feel like I don't notice people's eyebrows,
Yeah, that's because you're a dude.
I mean, perhaps.
Girls like definitely are like, let's fix them.
Yeah, I guess he was saying that like when he was getting them done, she said usually the process takes longer because girls like are so intense about the shape and they have to really shape whatever the microblading or something, like I don't know if that's a verb. But he just like got in there and he's like, yeah, just make them look fuller. And she did. So
like just fill them in as they are, but fuller.
Yeah. So he's like good for a couple years, right?
I mean, yeah, as long as
great.
They go fine. So I also, when I saw microblading, I wasn't thinking eyebrows. I was thinking about this other thing that women do called dermaplaning.
Dermaplaning?
Dermaplaning.
I'm learning
it's
so
like,
much.
you get like you like shave your face. But not in the way that like men shave their face. You have to have like a specific razor and it's like part of a skincare thing. Yeah.
You shave your face?
Yeah, because like women have like baby hairs all over,
Yeah. Okay.
I guess
is that bad? Like little peach fuzz. Yeah.
Yeah. But so like it's really exfoliating if you like shave your face.
Interesting.
I've never done it because I'm just so afraid that it's going to come back not soft and
I
like
mean,
blonde, you know?
is that what happens?
If you do it wrong, it can, because like, you know, like if you shave your face, it comes back like coarser.
Yeah, which is very annoying. Like I don't know. Like I'm still 10% convinced that I want to like do laser hair removal on my mustache because I'm never going to grow a nice mustache, at least not in the near future. Like it's just a hassle. I'm not going to be able to like, it's not, it's a gross, like wiry Italian one. It's not
You're
good. I'm
so
never going to have
upset right now.
I hate it. But it's because all my roommates all have like pretty dope mustaches right now. And like, do I need one? No. Like, am I jealous? Not really. But I'm pretty mad that I have to shave every day. Like it's annoying.
I
How long does
wouldn't
laser hair removal last?
forever.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
See,
wouldn't I wouldn't go there.
yeah, I feel like I don't want the forever thing, but like, can I do it for like 2 years? You know,
I
can I like
don't think so,
reverse
no.
microblade my mustache or something? Like,
Reverse microblade. Maybe what you could do is start waxing it.
see, I'm like, yeah. Does that
Because
last longer?
yes. I waxed my legs once and like for 2 weeks I was like, it's smooth.
Dude.
So
like, do you have to go get that done, or is there like an at-home thing I could potentially do?
the problem is you'd have to let it grow out a bit before
Okay.
you could wax it off.
Okay, how much we talking here? Like, so I shave
Like
every
an
day.
inch.
What? An inch? Erica.
Maybe half an inch.
You know how long that is? You've seen me when I like did not shave because like every time our show is off for a while, I'm like, I wonder what it look like if I just don't shave for a little bit. And it just
Sure.
looks terrible every time. Like it's not
Right. But like, where are you going right now?
great. Nowhere, not a place.
So you could let it grow out from the comfort of your home
Hmm.
and then wax it off. And if you wax it off, you have to do it live on this podcast.
Oh, okay.
So
does it hurt? Should I
like
be prepared?
Biatch. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Dude, yeah.
But like, are there any other like repercussions of waxing?
I think
Like
it thins your hair out, but not forever.
okay.
Like if you wax like regularly, which you're not going to, if you waxed it
thin me
once,
out?
it just wouldn't grow back fast and then you'd probably be fine.
I just feel like I'm never going to be a guy that wants a full mustache. Like I just don't. You know,
Right?
I'm
But like,
not one
what
of those
if
dudes.
someday you just want to do like Movember?
Someday. I don't need to do that soon though. You know, like I want some nice 5 o'clock shadow, like on the sides. You know, like a nice.
Right, but you're
like,
never gonna get that either.
No, I'm gonna. I'm still believing.
Okay,
Say
you're,
that,
you're
take that
almost a
back.
27-year-old man, but that's fine.
Yeah, but I feel like my body's like 24. You know, and my mind's 24 too. I think I might be 24.
I think you might be 24 too.
Yeah, I think I'm 24 to be
Yeah.
honest. So I feel like my body's just catching up a little bit, and now like I grow facial hair fast, but it doesn't come in full. But I feel like at some point, all old dudes have all facial hair, right?
Then this is why I'm going to tell you, do not touch your face with a laser.
Okay, I won't touch it with the laser. You got me sold, but the
Right,
waxing
okay.
idea is kind of appealing.
There you go.
I'm gonna think about it.
Dream big. Just keep on dreaming, John.
That's all I do.
Another thing going on is that it's election week.
It is election
Like
week.
see, you say that with excitement. I say that with like a little bit of dread.
I'm excited for basically one reason, and the fact that like it's over. Like
That's true. That's true.
You know, I feel like I'd spent so much time, like, you know, the candidates announce all of their running last year. And then you're like, oh my God, like this is literally 2 years until the election. Like this is so far in advance. Like the election's not till forever. And then all of a sudden
I voted in
week.
March for the primary.
Yes.
And like that, I voted on March 1st, right before quarantine happened.
Right.
And I have like a picture of like my I voted sticker. And I'm like, and then I got stuck inside forever. So.
And now it's like next week already. And I feel like that just came so fast. Like,
yeah.
I do feel like there's less buildup, kind of.
What?
No?
Have you been online?
Yeah. And I feel like it's there for sure. But I feel like 2016 was much more intense.
Oh my gosh. This feels like it's all I see, hear, think, breathe.
Really?
Drink, eat. Yeah. It's, I haven't left a conversation with people without it coming up.
So the thing I was like kind of excited to vote on, because especially in California, I feel like the votes for the propositions matter a little bit more than your vote for president. You know what I mean?
You feel like no matter what, California goes blue for president.
100%.
Right.
But it was kind of cool to learn about
Did you still put your vote in for president?
I haven't yet. I
Okay.
like changed my voter address because I guess it got changed somehow. Anyways,
Okay.
I changed it back and I never got a mail-in ballot, so I'm just gonna go in person. You know,
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
it's cool.
You know, you can go early.
I did hear that. I should probably look into that.
Yeah, you should.
But it's nice that we're done with work so early in the morning that like I don't think
That's
polls
true.
are gonna be popping at like noon. You know,
Election day, you'll have plenty of time.
exactly. So I'm not really tripping about that. But it is cool that I found this podcast that I was like learning. It was some guy who'd been on the Ryan Seacrest show because he's on KFI and he does this podcast where he broke down all of the propositions. And it was just so cool to learn about some of these because I was like, wow, that's crazy. This is like on the ballot, you know?
Yeah.
We're voting for this. This is kind of a big deal, you know?
I like did my research and all that, filled out my ballot, and I turned it in like 2 weeks ago now. But turned it in like it's a homework assignment. But it was interesting because right after that, I went home and went and saw my parents. And admittedly, my dad and I have pretty different, not necessarily like presidential views, but he's just like a lot more conservative than I am.
Okay.
And so he was talking about the propositions, and I was kind of like, definitely voted differently than he did. Definitely voted differently than he did on like all of these. But I mean, it was like a healthy conversation. It wasn't like we were angry with each other. But it is interesting how all these little things add up to like the big picture.
Totally. And I feel like those are changes we'll see. You know what I mean? Like, especially the one for like the Uber and Lyft one. I feel like that's one you'll notice things too. Like getting rid of cash bail. I feel like that's crazy. Like you can't bail yourself out of jail anymore if that passes. That's insane. You know, I feel like that's just such a thing that, you know, people can do. Like if you get arrested, you can bail yourself out until the trial, and like you maybe not able to do that anymore. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know? Whoa. Weed on the ballot was one of them. Like it's crazy that like that's legal now.
Was
because
it?
Wasn't it 2016?
I thought you meant this time. I was like, I didn't vote on that.
It's back.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it was like January 1, 2017, right? That it was suddenly like,
that's huge.
And or maybe it's 2018. I don't know. We have
and I have a neighbor that has like a weed plant on their porch.
Well, yeah. I think that is one that we've definitely seen like the change.
Yeah. That's so cool to me that you could like see that kind of change.
Yeah.
Like this dude's legally allowed to have a weed plant on his porch. Like that's insane, you know?
And it changes like when I was home one night, 3 of my friends got like super high because they were drinking these like weed sodas. And I was really drunk. So I didn't even realize they told me they were drinking them, but I didn't even put it together until the next day. They were like, Erica, you were so unaware of how high we were last night. And we were like cracking up. And I told my dad this story because it's like, I would have never told him that before 4 years ago. Yeah. And now like, it's funny and like, it's not a thing, you know?
Yeah. It's so cool to see that change, you know?
I mean, I don't know if I care about it that much because it doesn't affect me personally.
Totally. Like I'm not really like, I've never really liked smoking. Like it's just not my personality, you know?
I was intrigued by this like weed soda situation though.
I mean,
right?
It's weed like everything now.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited for it to be over too.
Totally.
I also like know that we're probably not going to get our results presidential at least.
For maybe a couple days / possibly even weeks.
Yeah. That stresses me out.
Yeah. But I mean, at least it's almost over. Like at least we'll know and we can just like prepare for what we're getting into, you know?
But we'll not know for a while.
True.
We'll eventually know. Yeah.
I'm hopeful that it'll be days, not weeks, but also I know nothing. So could be wrong. You know?
Also, we get to get up like extra early for work on the day after election day. So
we've had a lot of early mornings lately.
We have. It's maybe why I've been crying so much.
So speaking of work, I feel like one of the coolest things that some might say our job comes with is the fact that we get to like interact with celebrities sometimes, right?
Sure.
And even if we don't get to interact with them, we get to see them in another light. We get to see them sometimes behind closed doors. We get to see some of their personalities when they're not on camera or not on a mic, which I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Right. One of the negative parts is we try and keep, as a company, we try and keep great relations with these celebrities. And I think that the bad things we've seen, we can't really share much of yet.
Not like publicly.
Not publicly.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, I tell my friends if like something weird happened, but.
Totally. But like, we can't just go on a podcast and be like, dude, this girl sucks because of all of these reasons.
Right. No.
You know, which sometimes you might want to, you know, but like you just can't. What I thought was cool though, is there's this girl that you put in your pitches and she's an airport employee. I don't know if it's TSA or whatever it was.
Right.
But She is no longer employed by LAX. I think it was TSA at the LAX airport, but she's no longer employed there. So she went on TikTok and she basically went viral for this account that was talking about all the different celebrities that she's met. And then she ranks them 1 to 10 on celebrities that were the most kind being 1.
Yeah.
Actually, most kind being 10 and then least kind being 1.
Yes.
And I think it's so cool that I love when people are able to do that. People that are not in a position where they can really get compromised for it anymore, like just regular everyday people who interact with celebrities and they can just kind of share. I kind of love that.
You know, when we were in studio, every guest that came in studio, I would go out and get from the lobby and take care of while they were there and then pass them on to whatever interview they had next, right?
Totally.
I have very few negative experiences other than being stressed, which is just, it's not their fault usually. That's just like me being stressed all the time. I never kept like any sort of record. I really, people have been like, who's the most famous person you've met? And I just go blank. I'm like, I don't know. So
I think when I hear the most famous person you met, I feel like it immediately just goes like Taylor Swift. I feel like is the biggest.
Yeah. And I met her back
star,
when I lived in Nashville, but I haven't met her
since.
I haven't met her while working at Kiss, although she did yell to me at Last Wango Tango that she liked my shirt.
That's right. I do remember you saying
best
that.
moment of my life. Cool.
And I try to know that if I hear one bad thing about someone, like everyone has bad days. Like if I was on a record of everyone who ever interacted with me at a store, like they're not all good. Like I'm sure most of them are, but not all of them. You know what I mean? So I try not to let that cloud my judgment. But I did think that some of this girl's ratings on TikTok were kind of interesting.
Right.
So one of them was, so a couple of the negative ones, she pointed out 2 specifically. One was Kendall Jenner, who had like a low of 2 out of 10. Which, does it surprise me all that much? Probably not.
Like the girl's been famous since she was 14, 11, like, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like it's hard to really imagine much of a different scenario there. And then Nicki Minaj also had a low score of 2 out of 10. Which, like, I could see Nicki just being all sassy, you know?
Or just, like, not engaging. Because it seemed like a lot of the high ratings were because people were, like, engaging with TSA.
Totally. And then just put yourself in a TSA person's shoes for a minute. If you're dealing with just the general public, non-celebrities, how many of those people are engaging?
That's what I was thinking. You know? If I was getting ranked on my going through TSA, I'd probably very occasionally, like when I'm really excited about a trip, I'm super effing annoying. And I'm like, how are you? But like, if I'm just like going somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, here's my ID. Let's go.
Which is,
I mean,
it kind of sucks because celebrities for sure are almost always expected to be on. You know?
Yes.
Which does suck. But I just wanted to point this out because 2 of my favorite celebrities were up at the top of the list. And I just wanted to shout them out because they're just on all the time. Yes. And I just I love it. I love it so much. So a couple of the ones that she shouted out were 2 Avengers stars. One of them was Chris Evans. He got an 8 out of 10. Captain America. You know, we've seen his dong. He's a good dude.
We have nice seen his dong.
And a nice personality. Like just the full package. Pun intended.
You should have been Chris Evans. pick for Halloween. Anyway.
Dude, I thought about that. Did we talk about this on the podcast?
We did. Yeah.
We did. Yeah. I was like, discuss this. And then the 10 out of 10 was actually, and this kind of surprises me, Chris Hemsworth, which is Thor. And I just thought that was kind of surprising because he's like one of the hottest members, you know, like he's just, I wouldn't expect him to be the nicest.
So you don't expect hot people to be nice?
I don't.
But like Chris Evans is super hot.
He is. But he's like a different kind of hot. He's handsome, I think. You know? He's handsome. Chris Hemsworth is hot. Like that.
Chris Hemsworth is hot.
Like, dude, come on. And I don't expect those people to be nice. I'm glad they are, and I want them to be.
Right.
But I'm not surprised when they're not, because I feel like a lot of people who think that they're the hottest sometimes have a rep for not being that nice.
Okay, but then, sure. However, I think about the celebrities I've met, and my 10 out of 10 is 1000% Niall Horan. And it might be also because he's so hot, but also because like, actually right before the pandemic, he came in and we had him on our show and he was in, and you know, the man does not remember me. Okay. I've met him 2 other times. There's no reason that he
meets a million people.
He walks up to me and hugs me and says, "It's nice to see you again," because he figures he's met me before because I work at Kiss, and I really melted in his arms.
Okay. Hear me out here. How do you know he doesn't remember you? How do you know? You don't.
John, now I have butterflies.
I'm just saying it's possible, you know? It's
Right.
likely. Maybe
It
he
could
was like,
be.
every time I go to the Honor with
Yours
Ryan
is so
Seacrest show, there's this blonde
beautiful.
producer there,
Right.
and she's just gorgeous, and she's always so nice to me,
Maybe.
and I'm just so happy to see her again.
Yeah, that's true.
But like
Maybe.
in like a hot Irish accent, you know?
Right. He was wearing this all navy outfit with like a gold chain, like navy pants. And anyway, I just closed my eyes envisioning it. So I'm gonna let this move on. But who's your 10 out of 10? You've worked with people.
So I feel like one of my 10 out of 10s, so it's hard to remember all of them, but like
Of
one of my
course.
10 out of 10s is for sure Brandon Urie from Panic at the Disco.
What a great
He
dude.
is such a great dude. Like I remember when he would come in for shows, we'd be waiting there. He'd be about to go on the red carpet, and usually artists are like prepping, you know, getting in the zone or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just like out of line talking to the intern, just like, "Hey man, what's going on? Like, how's your day been? Are you liking your job?" Going out of his way to talk to everyone. And I was like,
Yeah.
I love this dude. Like that's so cool to me, you know?
That's cute. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, we always have, oh, the Backstreet Boys were really fun. Do you remember
Were
them
they?
coming in?
I don't think
You
I
were,
do,
oh, maybe it was right before you started working with us.
but I do hear they're very nice.
Are we almost at 2 years with you?
Yes,
Wow.
February will be
Okay.
2 years. Wow.
Wild. But
Wild.
they came in and they came into the back room and said hi, and then they were like playing games with us with that little window in the door. They would like pop up, and then like another one would pop up, and it was like, why? Like, you don't need to entertain us, but thank you.
Right.
They were nice. They were nice. I think they're always just, they're the kind of guys who are like just thankful to be here.
I love some of these stories. Another thing that I just like personally loved is like, so the job I had before this, a lot of the things I would have to do is one of the duties is I would have to go get what's called a rider for some of these artists.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have an artist perform at our show, they can basically send us a list of things that they would like in their hospitality room. Right.
Right.
And I would love this because I would just love to see what people want, you know?
Right.
Like they would sometimes ask for the most random things. They'd be like an orange special kind of banana, or like bananas aren't orange, but like that kind of thing, like a specific kind of fruit or like a specific brand of water and like a couple of dude, I'm telling you, I've seen some crazy things.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think the highlight, and I'm not going to say who it was, but I was working a hip hop show.
Okay.
And I literally had to make a tray of items that you would need to roll a blunt.
No.
I had to make a blunt charcuterie board for this guy.
First of all, put that on your resume, dude. That is hilarious.
I built a blunt charcuterie board, 100%.
Wow.
It was a tray of wraps. I had to get literally a grinder. I had to do a colorful selection of lighters. And that was literally like, that was the only thing this guy asked for. It was like a blunt tray is what he called it.
So funny.
Amazing.
Like,
I was just like, this is fantastic.
You and I have really different experiences of like, I've never had to like do writers and stuff. And also you very much so like at the shows would be designated to an artist and make sure that they get everything done that they need. Right. Yeah. No, mine's always just like, hello, you're coming to talk to Ryan Seacrest. There are planes flying by and it's so loud. Can you hear that?
I can't hear it. Yeah. I was wondering what that was. I thought it was like a lawnmower.
World. No, that's just the planes.
Yes.
So you've spent more one-on-one time with some of these people, I think, than I have.
One time I broke Ariana Grande's mom's glasses because I bumped into her and I was so scared. Sweetest lady. Did not care. Oh, but yeah, I for sure thought she's going to get pissed. They're going to yell at people and I'm getting fired. That's it. I'm so sorry. I literally heard my name from someone. I turned around like abruptly because I just like moved fast. Yeah. I bumped into her mom, shattered her glasses and they fell on the ground. And I was just like,
oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I think my other, and this will be the last one I share. Sorry, I just got tangled in my mic and my headphones. Because I have a meeting very soon. So we do have to wrap up soon. But my last favorite ones were Jason Segel. He showed up to the station alone. Were you there? I was like blushing because he is just so funny. That. And he was
so fun.
Yeah. And he was like making jokes about like a toaster and how he wanted to bring it into his interview. And I was like, I love you. And the other one was Joel McHale because he also showed up alone. And I asked, he like comes in from the lobby. I'm like, hi, Joel America, whatever. And I'm like, do you have anyone with you today? Meaning like, is anyone else coming for the interview? And he looks behind him and he goes, you don't see them either. Like as if he had like fake ghosts and stuff with him. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So yeah.
I love when people are like exactly who you think they would be.
Totally.
I love that so much.
It's the best. All right. Well, I think we have to just wrap it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
it's been a good one.
Anything else, John? Anything else that you need to get out?
Off?
Ew, get off.
That sounded bad.
Yeah.
Hit us up on our Instagram at Almost On Air. You know where to find us, dude.
Yes, you do.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. And I just love that we can come back every week and talk about dumb things. And you guys are still here for it.
And if anyone has a really good celebrity story, DM us and we'll read it on the next show.
I would love that. Yes, let's do it.
This was fun.
Perfect.